Hello, I'm Eoin Hassett from Independent Trustee Company. Today I'm going to look at pension fund threshold planning. During the discussion I'm going to make a number of assumptions. Firstly, the pension fund threshold will stay at €2 million. As we know, Sinn Féin have proposed to reduce it to 1.2 million, which is unlikely to happen. However, this is probably an indicator that there will not be increases in the near future or the long-term future. Secondly, I'm going to assume in my calculations growth of 5% per annum net of fees, and that annual contributions will index at 3% per annum. In the first scenario, we will look at John, a 40-year-old with a pension fund of 400,000, making an annual contribution of 20,000 per annum. Although the amounts do not seem to be excessive, John would end up with a pension fund threshold of 2.7 million at 65, leading to an excess fund tax of 224,000. If John were to retire his scheme at 60, the fund value would be 1.95 million, meaning that no threshold would apply. Other than that, John can reduce his annual contributions if he wants to retire at the age of 65. As you can see, it's important that we start planning for this immediately. In the second scenario, if we look at Mary, a 50-year-old client with a pension fund of €1 million with the intention to retire at 65. Mary will have a pension fund of just under €2.1 million at the age of 65 without making any further contributions. Continuing to make contributions will force Mary to retire earlier than required or pay an excess fund tax on retirement. Finally, we will look at Anne, a client age 30 who is starting a pension fund and saving €12,000 per annum with the intention of retiring at the age of 65. Anne will increase her contribution by 6% each year. Again, the amounts do not seem excessive. However, Anne would end up with a pension fund of €2.73 million at 65, leading to an excess fund tax of €233,000. So, what's the takeaway from these examples? Firstly, the earlier you start a pension, the easier it is to amass a significant sum. Secondly, the time to start planning for a pension fund threshold problem is as soon as you start your pension. If you are already in breach of the pension fund threshold, or will be before your normal retirement age, there are some solutions available to you. Firstly, it may be possible to retire your scheme immediately if you are over the age of 50 and can move to another employment. If you are a company owner, you would need to cease all ties with the company from which you will retire. It's important to remember that your pension scheme can be transferred from one company to another if required. Secondly, you may defer drawing your pension fund. The excess fund tax is only payable on certain transactions. If you were to die prior to drawing down your pension fund, the excess fund tax would not apply. Finally, you may be able to move your scheme interstate to an IORPS approved pension product. This will crystallise the value of your fund at its current level, meaning that any future growth will not be subject to an excess fund tax. If your fund is above the pension fund threshold at the time of the transfer, an excess fund tax will be paid out on that portion immediately. However, the future savings could be quite large. If you have concerns around the pension fund threshold, I would strongly urge you to seek good, independent financial advice. If you have any questions for ITC, please feel free to contact us on the details on screen, and thank you for taking the time to watch this.